Hey guys, Caitlin with Gravel here, and today we're talking about the perks of traveling in off-season. Have you ever gone to a destination that you were so psyched to be in to literally only stand in lines for the majority of your days to see museums or go really cool cultural places? Unfortunately, that happens to a lot of travelers, and they come back with kind of this tainted view. And the reality is that they're going in the wrong seasons. So we're gonna talk about off season and also shoulder season and what that means and when you should be traveling. So let's get into it. First up, we're talking about cheaper flights and especially cheaper flights to popular destinations. Another huge factor within flights is basically you're gonna have less crammed planes, which means you have more likelihood of getting an entire row to yourself, or you get to sprawl out, take a nap for 12 hours, wake up, feel rested, not be destroyed by the time you get to your location. That is much more likely if you are traveling in an off season. I've also traveled a ton in peak season, and of course I've been, middle seat or aisle seat or window seat, but I've always had people next to me on those flights. It is very rare that you will travel within the summer peak season and not have people sitting in every single seat. Let's chat about what shoulder season means, because it's kind of a weird phrase, but basically travelers made it up, and what it means is you're either going before a peak season or you're going right after. So you're right on the shoulders of the peak seasons. Okay, so when is that? Well, it's different for different locations around the world. So if you're going to Europe, everybody wants to go to Europe in the summer. They go June through August. We know that those are the peak travel times. Flights are the most expensive to go there during that time. So when should you go? Well, you should go early spring, or go into fall. So do not go in the peak of summer. I mean, you totally can, it's up to you. But if you wanna have a trip that is less crowds, less crammed planes, cheaper flights, cheaper hotels, the savings outweigh the cons. Some of the cons you'll find when traveling in off season, of course, those do need to be brought up, is a lot of places in their off seasons completely shut down, especially in small villages in other countries. Because they're not making money from tourists, there's no point in being open and causing more cost to themselves by being open and having the lights on and having their restaurants open and paying employees to only have 5 to 10 people come for the lunch rush. So that is something that I've actually experienced in Italy. If you're in kind of the Tuscany region of Italy and you're there during the winter, everyone pretty much just retires for the entire winter, takes it off, takes the whole season to rest, and then they're back to work spring, summer, and fall. So those are some things you want to look into. Make sure you do some Reddit research before you hit up a place to make sure that you're not going to get there and everything you plan to do actually isn't possible. I would say though that is the largest con of going places in the off season. So if you're planning to do things that are not ran by families or small farms or villages, things like that, most likely you'll be okay. Museums, things like that, they don't shut them down in the winter time. Just do a little research and you'll quickly see that the pros outweigh the cons to go somewhere in not the peak season when everyone else and their mom is also there. For me, I'd say traveling in the off season, it's mostly lifestyle perks that I love the most. Of course, financially, it's the reason I get to travel so much as I go in off seasons. But you're just gonna get a much more relaxed, authentic pace to life. You're not gonna be surrounded by tourists everywhere you go. I remember one summer, it was in 2014, I went to Venice in Italy, and I literally was in a sea of crowds walking around that island. It did not feel calming. It did not feel really that fun. I mean, there was a fun in navigating the amount of humans that were just always around me at all times. But I feel like going back to Venice in an off season, that's something I definitely want to do because it would just be so much more fun and calm, and you wouldn't feel as much of a tour. Another aspect is that the people you interact with are gonna also be less stressed because there's less going on. So you have more time to authentically connect and have a conversation and not feel rushed in and out of the door. And for me, that's really important because I love travel for the human experience of it. Before we dive a little bit deeper into this video, I do want to say we at Gravel Travel develop epic travel products that actually make your travels that much easier. One of them being our travel blanket that I now do not do long haul flights without. Another one is our TSA 311 bag that gets you and your liquids through TSA faster. Or if you're someone who travels with a lot of toiletries, we've also got these epic, well organized toiletry bags. all in various sizes for different needs and what you travel with. So make sure you go ahead and check those out. We're giving our YouTube community as a thank you a discount code, which is YT Friends. Make sure you type that in at checkout. And yeah, let's get back into the video. Now, something I saw on Reddit that is absolutely true and I didn't think about until I was doing research for this video is that you do not want to go to tropical destinations in their off seasons, which is typically their storm seasons. Obviously, do not put your life in danger for the fact of saving a few hundred, maybe multi-$100s. I mean, it's tempting, it really is tempting. But obviously you wanna go places in the seasons that make sense to go in. You don't wanna go to a beautiful tropical place and get there and it's freezing cold and you can't spend any time outside. And typically in those places, the whole purpose of going is being outdoors. So you also wanna look into that. If you're going somewhere to do a hiking trip or you're going somewhere to go skiing, make sure it actually lines up with the season that you're traveling in. That's more common sense, but sometimes you just get so excited about traveling that you book a trip and you think about the fact that it does not fit the goal at all after you've booked everything. So save yourself some time and money and make sure that you don't go on the wrong time. In the winter or fall in Europe, you're going to be able to expect a lot shorter lines to go to things. You're still going to experience lines. I was just there in February and we had some super, super long lines to go into museums and stuff like that. That's just a matter of traveling and, you know, part of it, but you are gonna have far less humans in that line than if you were there in the summer. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video useful, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and like below. Of course, if you have any thoughts, comments, or things that I did not bring up, make sure you say them in the comments. We're always learning from this community of travelers, and we're just so stoked to be doing it. So we'll see you in the next one, and peace.